I'm Chef Frank, this is Protocooks, and today we're making chilaquiles. Chef Frank, what are chilaquiles? Chilaquiles are a Mexican dish. It's a dish with tortillas and salsa, some sour cream or crema, some cilantro, sometimes some meat. It's almost like a casserole. I like to describe it as a kind of Mexican lasagna, for lack of a better term. Frank, why are you teaching us Mexican food? You're a gringo. You're a güero. You know what? Honestly, I am not an expert on Mexican food, but I did cook with a lot of Mexicans throughout my whole career. I've been in restaurants pretty much my whole career, New York City, Connecticut, and I've worked with so many Mexican people that have been generous enough to share their culture with me. I ask a lot of questions. I want to know about people's culture all the time, so I probably got annoying to them after a while, but I've kind of over the years just kind of collected a lot of information on the food, especially the food of the people that I worked with. So why am I teaching this? Because it's a dish that I make. It's a dish that is my own take on it. It's probably not truly a Mexican dish. It's Frank's take on it, but I think that some Mexicans will give me a thumbs up. My first introduction to chilaquiles was at family meal or staff meal. Before service in restaurants, you sit down or you stand up over a garbage pail and you eat a meal so that you're fed and you're not starving all night. And this is something that was served quite often. It's reasonably priced, it's quick and easy to make, and it's delicious. This is a comfort food to me. I know that in Mexico sometimes they use it as a hangover food, but this is a comfort food. It's warm, it's filling, it's delicious. It's not really that hard to put together. Not only have I tried this for family meal in the restaurants, I also have my friend Carmela who's made this for us before. And hers is totally different than mine. And I would assume that in different places, different families, different areas, they'd have their own way of doing this. That's the cool thing about Mexico is most people think of tacos and burritos and that's Mexican food. It's not. It's super diverse, super interesting. And depending on where you are, the cuisine could be totally different. I'm always trying to discover new things about this cuisine, and I think you should too. This is what you're gonna need for my chilaquiles. Sour cream or Mexican crema, chipotles in adobo, some eggs, corn tortillas, limes, garlic, red onion, tomatoes, avocado, either cotija cheese or queso fresco, cilantro, and of course salt and pepper. Let's talk about tortillas. I like to use white corn tortillas. You can use yellow corn tortillas. I just don't like to use flour tortillas in this. Can you use tortilla chips that are already fried? Yes, I like to fry my own. I'm a chef, this is what we do. And this is what I'm gonna do first. I'm just gonna take my tortillas and cut them into just triangles. I'm gonna go a little big. I'm just gonna cut these into quarters and then we're gonna fry these up. All right, make sure they're broken apart. Let's fry the chips. My oil is at about 375, 400. And what I'm looking for is my chips are nice and crispy. I like to kind of lay my chips in there so they're not like stacked on top of each other or stuck together. I'm looking for a light golden brown. And if you have ever heard me talk about frying, you'll hear that I always talk about bubbles. Bubbles mean that the water is coming out of our product and they're not getting greasy, right? I don't want these to be greasy, so when I see bubbles, it's a good thing, right? Especially in the beginning, we're cooking out the water and making it crisp, not oily. I have a rack here, so any excess oil can drain off. I also have salt because I'm gonna season my chips while they're hot. And I'm just basically waiting until they have a nice color. I'm gonna stir them around, flip them over a little. I have my spider, which is a great tool to have. I will link one in the description so you can have them yourself. I'm using vegetable oil. If you want to use lard, use lard. If you want to use any other fat, go for it. Use whatever fat you want. You can see that my chips are now kind of slowing down. They're not bubbling anymore. They're getting lightly brown. I'm going to tap them off. Get off any excess oil. Spread them out on my tray. Season them up. When you season high. Right, and then go with the next batch. You don't want to overfill, because if you overfill this, sometimes the oil will bubble up. So that's good. Let's shut the heat off. Get off the excess oil. Season them up. I'm going to put my oil aside and let's make the salsa. For my salsa, I'm gonna char all my vegetables. Normally, I'd go outside and do this on the grill, but it is freezing and I don't feel like doing that right now. So I'm gonna use a dry pan. I got my pan on high heat, getting it nice and hot. In Mexico, they use a comal, which is either ceramic or metal plate. They do tortillas on that. They'll do the salsas on that. They'll do chiles on that as well. And I'm just gonna put everything in and start to get it charred on all sides. The garlic I'm just gonna leave in the wrapper. I'm gonna put my onions in, just nice and dry, and I'm just gonna get them blistered and charred. You can see my garlic starting to get charred. I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna turn my onions over too. They might stick a little, but that's okay. Oh, look at that. That's what I'm looking for. Look at that char. That's what I want. Right, garlic is good. My onions are good. They might be a little raw in the center, but that's fine because I'm still gonna cook this salsa. There's one more step to this. My tomatoes are gonna go in now too. Skin and everything. Just drop them in and try and get a nice char on those as well. I'm keeping this over high heat and I'm getting some nice blistering on my tomatoes. I got a dancing tomato. Dance, baby, dance. I'm gonna take the tomatoes out. All the vegetables are charred off. Let's puree it. Just go right into the blender. Probably gonna have to do a couple of batches for this. I like to kind of just crush my tomatoes, get them in there. All right, puree it up. Let's see how we do this. Oh, it's gonna be plugged in. All right, let's puree. It's gonna get noisy. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of salt now. I have some chipotles. I'm gonna put, I'll put all my chipotles in now. I have 3 chipotles. I like it a little spicy. Just puree it up. Cool, once it's pureed, right into our bowl. All right, let's get the rest of it back on. Not catching. I need a better blender. Anyone want to send me a blender? VitaPrep, Vitamix, I'm talking to you. Okay, the salsa's been pureed. I have my puree right here. But there's one more step before I add my tortillas. I'm gonna take some of the oil that I fried my tortillas in, and I'm gonna get it nice and hot. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour my salsa in there and fry it and cook it a little. I want my salsa to cook a little more. I've got the char. Now I want it to be cooked. I also have some salt. I have some limes that I'm gonna season with some fresh lime juice. And one thing I didn't talk about in the ingredients, I have some chicken broth. If you don't wanna use chicken broth, that's fine, use water. This is just to kind of thin it out a little and just kind of get the texture right. So my oil is hot. I'm gonna dump this in. It's gonna splatter and make a mess. It's okay, we'll clean it up. Just a little bit of splattering. Which, you know, it's part of it. It looks a little thick, so I'm gonna add some of my chicken stock right now. Just to thin it out a little. I don't want it to be that thick. Nice. I'm gonna hold off on the lime juice until I have the right consistency and look that I want. Let it cook, hit it with a little salt. I'm gonna taste it now, just to see if I got the heat right, because I do want this to be a little spicy. So let me give it a taste. I'm not gonna put my spoon in there. I'm gonna do one of these so I can use my spoon again. Right, definitely need some more salt. I think it definitely needs a little more chipotle. I'm gonna just get some of the adobo and put some adobo in. The sauce consistency is good, so I'm gonna add some of my lime juice now. Please use fresh lime juice. Don't use anything out of a jar or a bottle, please. It's super important you taste your sauce as you go, because if it's not right now, it's not gonna be right when you put it on the table. So I have my tasting spoon. Nice, got a little heat, a little more lime. So it's probably gonna be more like 3 limes. One more taste. Oh yeah, it's where I want it. I have a little chicken stock in case I want to adjust the consistency. Let me get the tortillas and put this together. My sauce is simmering, it tastes good. I have my tortillas. Now, I'm gonna take my tortillas. I might not eat all of them. I'm gonna put them into my sauce. Now, this is gonna make a lot for a lot of people, so if you don't have as many hungry people as I do, you wanna put less. And I'm just gonna start to mix my tortillas in, right? I don't really want my tortillas to get broken up too much. I like for my tortillas to kind of stay a little bit whole, right? But I want to get the sauce tossed all the way. I think the consistency is good. Just kind of simmer in the sauce for a minute or two. While my tortillas are soaking up that nice sauce, I'm going to prepare some of my garnishes. Traditionally, you see queso fresco. I'm using cotija. Cotija has a little more flavor to it, so I'm not using the queso fresco. I have some fresh cilantro. I'm not going to chop it. I'm just going to break it on there. I have an avocado that's nice and ripe. I have some lime wedges. I have an egg that I'm going to fry, and I have some sour cream. I couldn't find Mexican crema, so I'm just putting a little bit of milk, and I'm going to thin out my sour cream. See, so it's a little more fluid. Excellent. Let's plate it up. My chilaquiles have been sitting. They have some sauciness to them. They've gotten a little soft. I'm going to put it in my bowl. Nice. If you want, save a little extra salsa on the side if you want them a little more saucy. I'm going to add some of my sour cream that has been thinned out with milk. Crema is a little more, usually a little more loose than this. If you don't have any of this, you can also use some creme fraiche. My cotija. I like cheese, lots of cheese on this, right? Avocado, right from the avocado, right? I just make my lines, and I'm just gonna squeeze a few cubes of avocado. Get that on there. And then just some really nice cilantro leaves around. The limes are gonna be put on later, and you kind of put those on to your preference, squeeze them on. It's kind of what you like. You know, you can garnish it the way you like. If you want, you can even do this as kind of a breakfast buffet. All right, I fried an over easy egg. I'm gonna put that egg right there. It is time to taste. I'm really excited. I'm gonna get myself a little bit of lime. I always serve lime on the sides. You can pretty much serve whatever garnishes you want. Sometimes you'll see radishes or red onions. Go for it, okay? So let's give it a taste. I want to get in there and get my yolk, because you have to get that yolk shot, right? I'm gonna bust my egg up a little. Get a little bit of everything in one bite. Try not to be too much of a savage, and go. One more bite. It's soft, it's warm, get a little spice to it. If you want some hot sauce, you can throw some hot sauce on there. Definitely something that's really comforting, really filling and delicious. Some of the tortillas have broken down a lot. Some of the tortillas still have a little texture. I like that textural difference. So good. So good. I guarantee if you make this, you're gonna make your friends and family happy. This is how I make chilaquiles. I want to hear all about it in the comments, how your family makes it, how you prefer it. I love hearing from everyone. I answer as many comments as I can, so put it down there in the comments. Let's talk. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We have merch in the description down below. We have a P.O. box down there too. I want to thank my Patreon patrons for supporting us. Thank you so much. And that's it. That's my chilaquiles. I'm Chef Frank. This is Protocooks. Buenas.